Good afternoon, everyone. Climate research crew boards the polar stern to strand themselves in winter Arctic ice to check out the flows, expected to be rescued by the Kapitan Dranskin. Oops, too much sea ice, third icebreaker, dispatched from Russia, the Admiral Makarov. Also, this expedition, they discovered that air temperatures above the ice were far lower than the height of 20 meters. I thought the science was settled. Kosovo, sun halo, momentous clouds, desert southwest USA, a quiet wave in the Earth's magnetosphere. Extreme quiet required to have these reverberations. But wait, a new sunspot was starting during this exact same time. These are the expected changes you would see during the Grand Solar Minimum, as well as the whole Hollywood-esque, bigger than big distractions around our planet as your food supply slowly diminishes. And we see news reports every day where web browsers, Chrome, Firefox, and Safari are scraping user data, browsing history, and sending to third-party external servers. And as much web browsing as I do, I need a way to protect my sources and sites that I visit. This is why using Virtual Shield VPN is the recommended choice to help reduce any type of privacy risk. Let me show you how easy it is to protect yourself. You can head over to virtualshield.com, and in the Download tab, I'm going to choose Firefox. And click Install Now to add the Virtual Shield add-on. I like it because it allows you to set your preferences inside Firefox, or you can download the Virtual Shield setup file. It's just that easy. And get started with your free 30-day trial. Install it, click Connect, and in the top right, my account's not connected yet. I just simply sign in, and from that point, you're ready to securely connect. You'll see the shield turn from red to green, and I actually prefer going to Singapore for my VPN outbound links. It's the hub of Asia and lightning fast. And you'll see how from my initial service provider, I was able to even change my IP, Virtual Shield Network Protected. And during the month of March, Virtual Shield is offering a special 30% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons. So sign up for the free 30-day trial. The link's in the description box below. So what is this now? The third year in a row that we've seen climate change scientists being rescued from vessels, both southern and northern hemisphere. The ice flows, the sea ice too thick. They didn't count on that. It was supposed to be all gone. How are they all getting stuck? Here we are. Yet another icebreaker finds itself stuck in unexpectedly thick Arctic ice. You would never expect that in an intensifying Grand Solar Minimum. Now this is the Mosaic mission. Need to bring you up to speed on this one here. They themselves stranded purposely onto the winter ice flows to measure where the ice moves around the Arctic Circle. They'd never done this before. The science was settled, but they've never done it before, so they didn't have any measurements. They thought they would do it because, well, it's the first time it's ever been done, and they're getting real measurements now. Polar stern locked themselves in ice, floating around. And I love how these statements come out here. Marcus Rax, expedition leader, tells us, we lack even the basic observation of the climate processes in the central Arctic from winter. What? I thought the science was settled. We're going to change that for the first time. So you mean that's the first time that they've been up here to measure the Arctic ice in this type of environment, and we're supposed to believe that every centimeter of our planet's been mapped out? Please. Sweet vessel, though, I must admit. Check that thing out. High-tech, brand new, very nice. So when it came time for rescue, obviously the secondary icebreaker came in, the Kapitan Dranskin, but it too became stuck. And then what was required to dispatch from Murmansk, a third icebreaker, the Admiral Makarov, to come and rescue these two stranded vessels that were supposed to be in slush and almost no sea ice. Well, at least they are helping in the pursuit of pseudoscience. Because another perplexing thing here that hasn't made the news feeds, if it's supposed to be a record-breaking feed as they're putting all over their website, one thing that gets buried under the cracks and in the dust under a carpet is the air temperature just above the ice was far lower than the height of 20 meters, just 60 feet above the ice. In the lowermost 10 meters, or the bottom 30 feet above the ice, there can be temperature differences of more than 4 degrees Celsius. Okay, so everything we've ever learned about the hothouse running away, the Arctic's the hottest ever, well, let's just subtract 4 degrees Celsius. What do you think? They just said it in a nutshell right there. So perhaps these temperature readings that we're getting that are proving the hottest year ever, especially around the Arctic Circle, 80 to 90 degrees north latitude, especially in the periphery seasons, spring, example now, why don't we just subtract, I'll be kind, 2 degrees Celsius, and we'll call it even. And then we'll see how much money comes from funding when it's break even zero. I bet you won't get much. But what's interesting is going to the Mosaic website itself. It has a little panel there for the newest news stories and in the news feed for the project. I linked everything below in the description box. I really want you to follow this down. But it brought you right to Our Burning Planet. No mention of the stranding of the second vessel. Nothing at all. It says record-breaking feat. Look at this. Despite adverse conditions, the Russian icebreaker rendezvoused with the polar stern at 88 degrees, 28 minutes north. Same news, same image, everything, yet they're not talking about how the secondary icebreaker was stuck in ice. I guess that's a faux pas. And there's been an enormous amount of atmospheric disturbance and unusual sightings in our atmospheres over this, last 3 months, specifically really ramping up right now. Sun halo, black rock, Kosovo. Let's take a, how stunning is this? Imagine if you're standing there on the mountain looking at this beautiful creation. And down to the desert southwest, this is an amazing front that I would have loved to sit there and watch roll through. And yet another anomaly, a quiet wave in Earth's magnetosphere. Now what you're looking at here is a disturbance wave because the magnetosphere was so incredibly quiet that the smallest wisp from the solar wind made it reverberate and jump between layers in the Van Allen radiation belt. So when Earth's magnetic field is at ultra quiet like it is now, you get this remarkable low frequency reverberation 7 minutes between pulses. Rarely happens. They've cataloged it before. It's not the first time. It requires incredible low solar activity. So what you're finding here, this schematic, the compression waves are jumping between the Van Allen radiation belt itself. And as it compresses, it rings like a bell going through. So these energetic electrons surf down, and you can see the arrows, the squiggly arrows there. Electrons are jumping these waves down to the Earth's atmosphere. So to get you a better idea of the radiation belts that our astronauts went through to reach the moon, I love the way the shielding was epic in the 1960s to transit through these Van Allen radiation belts here. So you can see the compression waves that would ring from one layer to the next. In a sped up image here, you can see how it reverberate down like this. But again, the thing that was mentioned twice in this article, it has to be extraordinarily quiet for this to happen. Solar minimums, but everybody's talking about, wow, we're ramping out of solar minimum, we're coming right back into solar maximum. But at the same exact day that this event occurred was the same exact day that the first sunspot sighted in the southern hemisphere. And then I dug out the solar wind chart here and said, wait a second, what's going on there? I put the line exactly where this anomaly occurred. Same timestamp. Dip in the density, increase in the velocity, which is kind of counter to what the article said. An anomaly nonetheless. Over under the sunspot number progression, we have been down into this solar minimum for how many months now? Should have bounced off now. Experts, wow, I think you're about a year and a half off, but hey, that's my own opinion. Grand Solar Minimum explains why. Now, if you don't want to panic the masses, you would tell them the next sun cycle is going to come equivalent to what we just had solar cycle 24. For the realists, solar cycle 25 is going to be far lower than solar cycle 24, reducing crop output and food growing areas on this planet. Now, if there's going to be less food for the population, you're going to need a gigantic, massive distraction. I wonder if you'll ever see one of those, especially during the second low planting season in the last 100 years. I wonder if they're correlated. Look out into the vision of the landscape. Do you see anything overlapping there? Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. It's not CO2, it's not you, it's the sun this March if you join the Adapt 2030 pack, $10 patrons and above. Because I know you're focused on getting your supplies ready, but I know you also want to have the information moving forward of how these changes are happening and other things I can't really talk about here on YouTube, especially related to Asia, with my view into the happenings on our planet. The link's in the description box below, and I will see you next video.